Okay, this will be phase 2 of our aquaponics system. So we've rearranged some things. We potted some of the plants because they were getting really tall and tipping over. And we've re-germinated some, but we're finding that some plants don't work so well in the aquaponics system due to the fact that they don't germinate. So we moved some of our tomato plants out over to here. We eventually plan on transplanting those ones. And we're going to turn this into like a mini greenhouse thing. We have the materials to do it, we just haven't done it. But we've also found that beets and radishes don't like water that much. And so what you end up seeing is these things are getting kind of overwatered and tipping over. Another thought that I had was that they're having, I just pulled that one out of the ground. Well, that one's going to die. They're having a harder time growing down through the sand, and that's why they're growing up tall, because it's nice and packed. It's like harder for them to grow through is one of our theories. I don't know for sure on that. So we're going to look into finding ways of doing that one better in the future, or finding just a different way of doing it, because we haven't had much luck of them surviving. They're growing up tall, but they just tip over and die. What we did for the carrots was a little bit different, as we planted them in the pod things and then buried them underneath. You can't see the plants that we have growing up under here that well for where it drips down, but adding the grow lights has increased them like no other, and they're starting to grow way tall. I kind of want to figure out what it is because it's moss. But we have added the fish. We had 5 fish at one time. The first one died overnight. The second one died a few weeks later, and then the other one died just a couple weeks ago. And we have a couple of ideas that we had too much nitrates in our water because our plants couldn't absorb the nitrates out. So one of the things that I did to help that out is I bought this bag from PetSmart and filled it full of activated charcoal and just sat it in there. And it actually took the water from being foggy to fairly clear in a matter of time. And so we're hoping that by adding that, it will be enough to keep the fish alive as our plants start to grow. We'll just watch it over time. This is really my first time with an aquarium, and throwing the aquaponics on it adds a new thing to it. But one of the things that we've done to help out watering is I programmed that microcontroller there, which is a StemTerra board. So it's an Arduino based microcontroller that they've literally built into a breadboard, and I freaking love it for that reason, because you can program it, breadboard things on it all in one, and so you have all these IOs out here that represent the Arduino, and then you have just breadboard area for breadboarding circuits that you might want to do. I bought this amps, I guess how I say it, AMX. This controller right here was designed for rolling up and down screens for stuff like inside classrooms for projector screens, overhead screens. And I sat down and hacked it and figured out what I need to do to make it switch on and off the relays and the motor. So right now it controls the pump, and so every 3 hours our pump turns on for about a minute, and then the water comes off, and that's all controlled by this wire. And it also provided 12 volts that I could plug my StemTerra board right directly into. So it powers its microcontroller and it turns it on and off. And if I wanted to, I can spoof it by taking this wire here that is ground and ground this pin out right here. And you can possibly hear the pump click on. Well, you can probably hear the relays. And so that happens every 3 hours. I more or less. What I'm doing is counting milliseconds, and the clock in here has a tendency to drift, and since it's been running, it's been drifting about an hour over the past few weeks, so I can't really schedule exactly when it's going to happen, but it has been working. So that's the update so far. I eventually want to take this and make a video of what exactly I did to hack this, because what's nice is this thing, I bought it from a surplus store up at the university for $1. I got 2 of them for $1. And I went online, and these things are normally about $80 a pop. So I got a steal of a deal, and I can control 2 things with 1 box. And so that's even cheaper than the Arduino shields that have the relay shields that are out there that have the relays built into them. And so I felt pretty good about that, especially if you start looking at solid state relays to do the same thing. But the next thing I want to add on is a light sensor that will detect how bright it is coming into this room, and if it's so dim, it will turn on the lights in here, so everything has proper lighting for about 12 hours, and then turn the lights back off. It shouldn't be that hard to add in with that Arduino, and so you can plan an update with that in the next couple of months. And that's the update so far. So really the biggest updates are we added fish to the system, and we added an automatic timer. So thank you for watching. Expect another update of phase 3 where I have the automation a little more keyed in, and possibly some updates with the plants, and hopefully the plants start growing better, and we have stuff for that. But thank you, and until next time.